E aí, pessoal, tudo bem?
Hi guys,
Agora
everything
começam
fine?
os nossos
Now we're going to
paralelos.
bring our
A gente
parallel
agora
content, and today
vou me sentar aqui.
I'm going to sit here and
Fazer uma série de
we
painéis.
will have a number of panels, and the first one we're going to have with people from Wahalla
Para contar uma história de
to
parceria
talk about a partnership story and connectivity and solutions, which is very cool. I'm gonna just say this, and then gonna tell you the whole story. So I'd like to call here Papaleo and Ikeda. You can sit here in the middle, Ikeda. Well, guys,
Fazer o seguinte,
let's do the following. I'll let you introduce yourselves, and mainly, it's a different name. Here, I have questions written down here, but the first, I'd like you to talk about your role in Wahalla and what is Wahalla's story. Well, good morning. Thank you very much for your presence. I am Andre Papaleo. I am a CEO of Wahalla. It's a food tech. It's been in the market for 3 years, and what we do, we redefine the connection between people, individual, and the brand of food and beverage. And among our customers, we have Starbucks, TGI Friday, Subway, and all brands that you like and know a lot. And this relationship is the omni relationship through digital marketing, one-to-one. Well, I am Claudio Ikeda. I'm CDO of Wahalla, and obviously I'm here since the foundation of Wahalla. Obviously, when we began, we're building a platform which is something very different, and we can explain a little bit about what we did differently. Okay, good. So now we have the opportunity during this panel. Those who were at the David Muller keynote, he talked about the vision of business with API initiative. We're going to have this vision. What is the Wahalla project? I'd like, firstly, we already know what is Wahalla, but tell us about this project. What is the main goal? Thinking about business. Well, what's happening today in food and beverage is a digital transformation, which is very accelerated. You have all followed this during the pandemic, which accelerated it even more. And basically, the role of iFood and Wrap and all these companies caused in this industry. It was an industry that did not digitalize itself. It was actually outdated, and it then grew 10 years in 2 years. So the great challenge is to get to know the customer, who is your customer, and in every aspect of the experiences that the customer has with the brand, be it at the point of sales, through a delivery app, in a curbside, drive-through, an e-commerce. You needed to know this customer and the experience of such customer, and to give and also convenience alternatives, and to capture data of these experiences. And these experiences, they occur in different systems, and many times legacy systems or platforms which are completely heterogeneous. So there is the need of integration of the data in real time and in multiple channels, which is something huge. And it was for this reason that we did this partnership with Sensedia. Ikeda will explain this technically, how it actually occurs. And it was the great challenge that the brands and customers came to us to solve this issue that they had. An example of Starbucks. Many of you have the Starbucks app, I believe. If you don't, please download it. And what does the brand want? Through knowing the customer, knowing the behavior information of the customer, they can generate conveniences and inform the customer at the right time, the right quantity, so that they can consume the brand. And this generates an increase of revenue, a better engagement, a loyal group of customers, and recurrent consumption, which is what we all want here. So this is the great business goal of this transformation. But there are other aspects, Ikeda, about integration that we have to still explore. Yes, I think the great challenge that we have is that despite the digital transformation, which occurred in a very accelerated manner, this is an industry that has many players and they have vertical status, so you cannot connect anything to nothing. So if you take into consider the POS leaders technology, if you want to have an omni-channel platform connecting to brand A, a component of brand B, you simply do not have APIs. So you battle trying to connect things. So this is when we had the challenge of 2019 from Starbucks, and Starbucks said it would only support US and China with its architecture, which was developed with Oracle, and they created the possibility of the countries to develop their own platforms. So the issue is that it was time. They had a 5-month sunset, and we had 5 months to create, deliver, air it, and insert all the data. So we did this. I think we were the only country in the world that managed to do this using open source. So we did not use the huge manufacturers. We practically developed all the stack, and Sensedia has a crucial role because can you imagine that although it seems a loyalty program behind it, there is a financial system behind it. You have a wallet, which is first data, you have anti-fraud system, you have payment system, you have vault, and all the components of open finance inside the Starbucks app. So this need to be orchestrated. Develop APIs and doing orchestration and also the calling for apps and replicating this experience was quite successful. And we were the only country in the world that completed this experience in 5 months. And today Wahalla is the only platform, global platform, approved or homologated by Starbucks worldwide. So even today, with exception of Stark Oracle, we're the only one authorized for a global deployment. So every time everybody go and have for a macchiato coffee, you have Sensedia there. You know that one of the first times that I had coffee with people from Wahalla, we went to Starbucks actually, and they do not identify themselves. So I was in line and the girl said, wait a bit, because the system dropped. So I didn't know exactly if I would joke with them. I would ask if it was an API issue with the guys that I was with. So then we contacted support and so on. And so it had nothing to do with it. So we are now doing this payment journey, and now we're going to a more white label solution which is going to be offered globally and in other brands and other countries. So we're not talking about API management, we're talking about iPaaS. So today, those who were at the plenary session, we launched the integration platform, Sensedia integration platform. We think this is a movement of expansion, and one of the first use of such integration platform, the iPaaS model, is exactly inside this project. So, Ikeda, what are the main drivers that made you go beyond the management to go to iPaaS? Now, following development of the platform, we continue with the principles of making an open platform. We cannot use the word open food because it's already used, but the correct thing would be that one. But what would be an open food then? Can you imagine that the experience transformed does not have the long line at the teller and this thing about consumption? The stores will be much more like an Apple store, something where the vendor, is a consultant or a vendor is a consultant. You're going to require, you're going to ask the order through your mobile phone, and everything's going to arrive to you in a fluid manner. You won't be standing in line anymore. So this evolution of the Starbucks solution to a platform, this is where we are putting the iPass in. So actually, when we design a platform, an open platform, multi-channel platform, and with the intention of maintaining connectivity through API, REST, and with all the possibilities pertaining to an ecosystem around us, the choice of iPass was the most natural as possible, mainly because of the relationship and the trust that we have with Sensedia to develop this product with them, and being the first customer of the iPass platform, and managing to do the use cases precisely because we are now evolving. We bought Italy recently, and Wahalla is providing the new digital solution for them. So we're going to have e-commerce, kiosk, apps, virtual line, wine subscription, and so on. You pick up, you order in one point. Experience of airport store where you go to the supermarket. When you arrive at home, you have already a point where you can pick up your purchase on your way home from work. So this is possible. This would only be possible if I would embark on an API gateway. So then I was asked, why don't you do an API gateway? Actually, we know it's not exactly like that. Making a low-coding platform with the possibility of integration of multiple players, and to provide this, our intention is to have integrators. So we're going to have a central platform for the whole market. This can only be done bringing together the capability of providing the open API gateway from Sensedia and the ability of us knowing the food market and integrate this experience, which will take this experience like the Apple one. This is what we want. But there is also a question of volume, because you have to understand that this market. Now, so imagine our customers. For example, let's consider three great customers, Starbucks, Subway. Between these two, we have 2,000 stores throughout Brazil. And if you consider the airport, who are our customers that operate the food from Porto Alegre Airport, Curitiba Airport, Congonhas Airport, Guarulhos, Galeão, Brasília, Belo Horizonte, there are 125 million per year going through airports and eating and drinking there. So this gives you over 50 million transactions per month, and you got to hold this, right? So as Ikeda mentioned, what is important for Starbucks is not that you purchase the store, the coffee at the store, but the coffee should be Starbucks. How it arrived there, it's not important, but the volume of transaction that we have to hold or have behind this is huge. So when you drink this coffee, when the coffee went into the cup, be it through an app, be it at the store or an e-commerce, it went through a number of integrations that's got to happen. And once it went in and I sold it, I have to contabilize this. I've got to do the inventory and play the rates, and I'm going to take care of the operations. Not only the store at the store window, it's and the API. There is a huge tech integration which integrates to another world, which is very heterogeneous. Each of these brands and custom has their RP, their back office. We put here one of the first challenges, which was to integrate one of the largest players worldwide in PDV, which is the Oracles, and we are integrating with Sensedia. So this thing about volume, the issue about volume is huge. There's a lot of transaction, a lot of things to be processed, and it cannot drop. So it's on the line. So it's waiting in line. I'd like to understand how this platform can have like a go-to-market. Well, before that, I want to know how can we perceive positively or negative based on customer experience. You mentioned certain brands like Subway, where one of the proposals is to be fast. So can you notice positive and aspects and also risk aspects with respect to the customer where you can help? Well, Subway is a very good case for discussion because we're dealing with the paradigms. So every Subway has that fridge, and they thought the experience was looking to the tomato. So if it's good, if it's not good. But it was the first brand that said that broke paradigms. Let's make build an automatic store. I want kiosks, and we're going to eliminate the fridge, the refrigerator, and we're going to make the selection of the items digitally wise. So I'm going to take on the risk to do the inversion of the experience. So you're going to purchase through the kiosk, and you go and pick up your sandwich, and not setting up your sandwich and then paying for it. I believe that it seems something small, but it's not obvious, because what does the operator have as a rule? Order and discipline. If it always worked well, if we are going to sell 100 times in the same store, so the risk of changing the experience is you got to be bold and daring, because a global brand can have 40 or 50,000, 40 or 50 restaurants and replicate it. So in Brazil, we're going to have 100% digital store. It's a paradigm, and we deal with this every day. But change your experience, and we see how much the kiosk went into people's lives. I don't know if you remember, for example, McDonald's 2 years ago, the kiosk was a strange object in the store, and today the strange object is the teller.
They use the cashier more. So these are the paradigms we deal with, and obviously, like someone incurred the risk of placing a kiosk in a shop. We hope it's not that traumatic, but in fact, it's always a risk because you're shifting the strategy. And as for the other client, we have Starbucks. It's the opposite. You will see more and more the work on experience and hyper-personalization. So, Starbucks is proud of services rendered by the barista. You go there and take some time to pose an order, but it's highly customized, but it's not there just. This will keep on, but the hyper-personalization or customizations will happen in our channels, and many times automated. So we are now doing for Starbucks marketing one-to-one. So think about a brand with millions of clients record on loyalty. You have customized campaign today. Today we are launching more than 2 different campaigns per day. It's almost per shift. So when I see the stars that I receive Starbucks, it's not the same scent to Bruna because she drinks a different coffee. No, it's not the same. Hyper customization, because then we integrate the information knowing the client. I know that Heitor lives at the Itaimboro. I know that he drinks macchiato, caramel and cheese puff and 1 brownie per week. I know he go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. information minute by minute, and likewise Ikeda and you, we know what you consume, so campaigns are earmarked for this. So imagine a brand with hyper customization, any brand, let's say our clients or not, how much you expend today in campaigns, media, Google, Insta, Meta, whatever. What's the expenditure? Let's say 10 monies per month in media, and the conversion will be X. With our platform, we generate audiences for the campaigns more qualified. Therefore, you invest 10 dinheiros, but the conversion will be 2-3x, depending on the type of conversion you want. Let's say Ikeda at his shop, he needs volume, so I have campaigns generating volume. Marcelo, by his turns, want medium ticket increase, so I have campaigns increasing the average ticket. I have those that it's more recharging my apps. Ikeda mentioned wallet. I can charge more wallet in more monies in my wallet. So hyper customization for this purpose. And of course, with this convention that it's ordinary, that's for other brands like Subway, we will topple a paradigm in Brazil. I cannot advance this, it's quite fast, but soon self-service in this brand. Something one did not hear before. Starbucks will have self-service and it will be used as the platform. This is a huge paradigm being toppled. It will be convenience, there will be loyalty and customization also. Excellent. Now we are talking about a solution that it's being created and used by these fantastic brands. So we have Starbucks, Subway, Italy, and also different skills order, which is even cooler, showing that it can be applied on high-end or lower average ticket. I would like now to talk a bit about market. So what are the companies type of market in Brazil or outside that we are talking about a solution that's using this embedded service, but it's a business solution. What are the other markets or examples you could give us that could use this solution in Brazil and abroad? Well, two things are happening. First, I will talk about the fact that these brands are so big, our clients in Brazil, that they are a separate world of myself and Ikeda. Lately, we have been talking about these brands in different markets, other markets in South America, other countries, that's it, North America, Asia, Europe markets, where challenges are the same. Connection with other providers are the same, and many of the latter, they have different options of solving these problems or not. So when the brand adopts, when you talk with Starbucks and you can sell within it, it's not just a client-vendor relation. You have to be approved. You want to know how long it took talking with Starbucks Global Architecture. So it's huge. So within these brands we are in Brazil, there's one possibility of go-to-market. First, all the market that has products of food and beverage or table or bench that has a franchise or with that or own shop, it would be today the market for Wahalla, being Brazil and abroad, both. So Ikeda could also address further what we are doing to cater abroad with partnerships. So the beauty is this. Many times we think we are in Brazil, a separate world, but in fact we solve a problem here that it's good for many. Interesting to say that when we started talking with the big four or consulting brands, the lacking that the market has, what we see more is vertical stacking. So you see, well, we can no longer use the POS that talks only with itself. We cannot have something that in order to connect an iFood app, I need a tablet. So how? Tablet? Well, because it does not integrate. So I said, imagine the poor guy at the shop with a queue and a tablet dropping orders, or you see the batch film de iFood. printer. It's not, it's paper all everywhere. So this is horrible. So how to deal with this universe we're talking? And also for our surprise when we found out that there's a huge lacking regarding players in the consulting area. I'm talking the big ones or even those companies of technology. And also recently we are in this process of closing these alliance for global go-to-market. The finding was, first, there are 10 global players closing the market. 10 groups of food and beverage hold 80% of all restaurants worldwide. So one could not think about it. So the first one is the long tail, but it finds its enterprise market and have to enter the big brands. And with them, you don't have a Red Sea because you have the big players, because big brands buy from big brands. And in fact, what happens? Either you join them or you add to them. So you don't want to fight with a big brand. And then we found lots of space. You can talk with Oracle, SAP, big players, all of them were born vertical stacking, but they don't want to die at vertical stacking because they know it's a death. So they want to change their stacking to open, but they need SUVs to do this that has global capacity, and this is the niche we are finding. So when we are with Oracle and soon we will disclose products with them, SAP and other players. It's amazing you say a brand like SAP, why they would to do a product with Wahalla. But this is the reality, because if you're not aware, SAP don't have a shop front. It's not located for Brazil. They don't have solutions for Brazil. They have integration with players. And we are implementing the rising SAP in Brazil. It is desperate. The connectors and integrator of shopfront with their back office, they don't have it. Amazingly, we are building the bridge for SAP, so this becomes a product. So you say, wow, that's it. Imagine for you to connect shopfront, you need 5 connectors to SAP. So if you are down in 1 or 2, I will know my business is down. So how create one panel with all API integration, seeing all in order to know what is the asset of each one, which is on and down, and so forth. This is go to market together. This is how I could call it. Marcílio, there's an important point that for our attendees to understand, there's a metric of food and metric of these guys, which is innovation to cash. It's a time interval where you had an idea for I invented a new sandwich, coffee, hamburger. You had the idea, and this idea time interval to have this idea generated the first dollar on the revenues. So guys, you don't imagine the time. This is ridiculously huge. And with the integrations we are doing, we are being able to reduce innovation to cash. And I stress, because many times the product is ready, that you have a network with 2,000 shops. And then, depending on the region, different prices, different discounts, channels, or you don't have supply, what's the channel of food price, and happy, likewise, so forth. So to do this automatically and simple for a group of networks or network, it's absurd the gain they have. So what we are removing regarding costs of our clients, it's amazing. We are providing not only them increase on revenues, margin, frequency, but also removing costs from the transaction. So increasing costs of opportunities that receiving revenues before the time. So I follow these talks. We are talking about solutions that's not entry to replace POS and so forth. It can, if you want, we can. can also, but the positioning is more towards the Swiss pocket knife. And then you want during the integration in the panel, when we talk about open business, we talked about open delivery. Well, one of the bottlenecks, as an example, is that iFood today concentrates a lot, but it's still, there's a possibility of bigger opening, especially if the data was standardized, facilitate in speed up delivery solutions. So this is open food. And currently we have the Menu, Brazilian Association of Bars and Restaurants is a client of Sensedia that's leading the standardization of open deliveries. How to integrate these channels? All delivery platforms are very attractive to this. Obviously, it's not that much for iFood because of the platforms will join. So what this brings in terms of a speed of open delivery in your solution, think about the pocket knife, what the instruments to be habilitated, let's say Starbucks. Well, what happens that truly this solution that we called iFood, it experience a reality like it's dividing iFood in three basic components. One is the motorboy, the marketplace, which is the e-commerce, OMS, which would be the integration with the POS and so forth. And in fact, what happens? Well, the cost today of food platform, it's heavy, quite heavy for restaurants. In fact, it costs the margin of food. So when you buy now iFood, theoretically, it could cost more than the restaurant's margin because it's highly impacted by the platform cost. And then, what was the attempt of Brazil, and quite positive, by the way, is exactly to standardize menus, everything, and providing this thing of dividing the platform to chunks. While we have Wahalla today, it's possible to do this middle terms between the middle way between platforms. I can buy delivery from iFood and Rappi also, but not by OMS from Wahalla, and I can buy the marketplace of Wahalla, and then I reduce this cost for 1/3, 1/4 of platform cost. And then technology is again feasible because the cost today of the platform, it is a bottleneck for the cost. No one has a business without being profitable. This would be death. So our view is exactly to uphold profitability of restaurants, providing that this competitiveness of independent components and leaving the choice of the brand which place of delivery they want to use, what the marketplace they want to choose, and what's the central component of management. So this is the magic that we are now, that it's a debate, a big one, knowing that iFood has a high domain of this market, and also take into account the global aspect. So you go to the American market, this is more, there are those players only doing the middle field. They don't do OMS, they don't deliver, but they do exactly the middle, which is where we want to be placed and installed. And they don't do it that well. That's it. There are those companies that want this. So now we are doing different. So we have a connection for Oracle. The first question for differentiation: what are the roadmap of connectors to the platform? Well, there's no way. In fact, we will have to connect to all. Oracle is the leader. We are the process. Sensedia to finish the connection. It's serious. In Sierra is a global leader. We will have to be management of Sierra and links the brands, and we will have to bring and connect all, because it's a challenge equal to Sensedia. You have to connect a big group in order to say that you're universal. But now it's not only this. We also have issues related to payment means and the issue regarding open banking wallets. So we want only to reinvent this integration with the shop fronts, but also how can we make payments frictionless and identify users, and you don't have to pose the key in your PIN is just face, finger, other means of biometry that we can include, and debates also regarding universal tokens. Tokens like they are today, perhaps it has to be reinvented, because in fact you get the app, obviously you want to enter and pay. You don't have to place your PIN or log on, but the persistent token is a problem in the omni-channel. How to persist the token mark Marcilius in an app? He goes to the kiosk, he looks at you and say it's Marcilius, so you can end your order there. This is a challenge, so a challenge, omni-challenge also, because here, guys, we are giving options, but if you look our platform, why this universal integration is important, what a client like this, a powerful brand and others, many of you as an example can have clients' data lake control. So you have a triangle of the retail CPFs, tax identification number, SKUs, and CNPGs. So just retail has this. I will have an individual buying coffee and sandwich in a channel. This is what matters and is of interest, and the property belongs to the brand. This information belongs to the brand. The data, depending on of each one, will be enriched. So we will have a data lake. I don't know if you notice, I mentioned some figures, but only clients that go through brands, only consumers that go through our clients, our airports, we have 125 million Brazilians per year, almost a bit more than half the population. So see the data lake that can be set up and be informed. 1/3 of this, you do processes of Brazil. Do you understand that the point is not the end, it's just the middle? That's why we have to integrate, and there's a comment I found it interesting on my channel, but Leader Bank top 3, we explain how we get the data on a subway. So basically we give a cookie for the data. So the cookie of the app, no, a true cookie is not the app cookie. We give them cookie. It's the biscuit, in fact, that we give them. And then we say,
how many profiles did you get with these cookies? We have 6 million cookies, 6 million profiles. Well, then I said, can the bank buy this cookie? Because I would like to give a cookie as well. So it was actually very funny. So you say then, well, the kaki, for example, I'm going to put it in Google, I'm going to spend a check of 200 million. But you give a cookie, well, it costs cents. So I said, well, I prefer your cookie. At least I'm sure that the guy eats the cookie. And you say, well, in an advertising, you'd not pay attention, but you'll pay attention to a cookie when given. So this begins to become scientifically proved that is really worthwhile. When you transform customers that are not recurrent ones, this figure that I'm going to say is public. It can be said. The American Starbucks, it's a spot sales coffee brand. It has 40% of the revenue, recurrent revenues. Actually, 45%. 45 of the customers return with a frequency over 4 times during a month. This is a lot. And when you have this customer data and it becomes recurrent, check the LTV. So the a cookie on espresso is nothing compared to the data, the value of the information, the behavior information, the value of behavior information. So technically you can show in an equation that your campaign today is a cookie, can be a coffee, it can be a beer at TGI Fridays because it's worthwhile. I have a foreseeable return. So this is public because it's a Harvard case. They calculated the LTV of a Starbucks customer. Well, the customer will consume $13,600 in coffee throughout this customer's life. So wouldn't you give $1 to go into this trail? So it would be 45% of everything that people that went into this trail churns. So this is what changes a coffee shop into a global case. It's amazing the possibilities that goes from fintechs. I don't know if you know, but Starbucks has $5 billion deposited in the wallets. $5 billion in deposits for hyper convenience only. Just because you want to have your coffee fast. So we were talking about this. I have a Starbucks wallet. I use two bags. I use a digital bag and a traditional one. I don't leave the money sitting there. But in the wallet, in Starbucks wallet, I had 150 reais. It was quite a while since I used it, but it's quite impressive. You're going to have a campaign very soon to spend your 150. So it's funny because what touches people most is the load campaigns. 100 reais for 10 stars. Why? Because the guy waits to give a download or load when you get the stars. Just when I transfer miles, I wait for bonus to transfer miles. So the average ticket of Starbucks and Subway, so imagine it goes beyond an average ticket that we have from Italy. Imagine the average wine club of Italy. So this average ticket is extremely high. It's over 3 figures, the CAC that you can do, because the club generates recurrency. So once again, I have to capture this information. It's in e-commerce, it's the point of sales, it is in a delivery app. So this information many times for the brand is in iFood and Rap, and it doesn't go back to him, to them. So in a way or the other, the brands now want to stop looking to the market through the eyes of the traditional DSP and looking more to their eyes at a lower rate. So this is where we come in. Perfect. Okay, now, will you stay here during the whole day, during the event? We have a board meeting, so, well, I'd like you to do the final observation. Those who want to understand more about this solution, what would be the main channels for you to talk about this? Final comments. Would you like to begin, Ikeda? Well, I think in the open way, technically speaking, I'm completely available for any sort of questions or explanation, or even sharing our knowledge of the trilogy to do the open food world, talk about the open food world, and also the trade products. Papaleo can talk about it. Well, firstly, use the apps of our brands, like Starbucks, Subway now. At the end of the month, I think, at the end of the month, Subway will put, São Paulo will go into the coupon campaign. Subway then will have, it will be there and you can use it. And any sort of information that you would like about Wahalla and the platform, you can talk to me with Ikeda. We have all the information. Our whole team is here. Wahalla team is here as well during the whole day. Marcilio knows he's one of our great partners. It was the first one that are really betting on us, and we really thank you for this and the invitation as well. And we invite you to try out the the solutions that we have with these brands that everybody enjoys. So there are novelties coming in the following months. Excellent. So 40 minutes talking about the need of integration, and we didn't talk about REST and so on. The idea here was to understand for the business what makes the real difference. An honor to have you here as a partner, and these brands to position themselves as well and to evolve in terms of solution, have new connectivity platforms and more complete in its sense. So it was launched on Monday, and on Tuesday it was already up. Very well going. Thank you very much.